What's up, guys? So today's video, I just want to go over something a little different, and I'm trying to narrow it down. As I mentioned to you guys before, I'm trying to decide between a few different states. I was originally mentioning Arizona, working our way from west to east, Arizona, Texas, and Florida as potential states to move to. And as most of you guys know, I've been in Texas for a week or so, just checking out some different properties. You guys saw the last few videos when I actually took you guys along for the ride to look at a few of the potential properties. All the ones that I looked at, I'll let you guys know the situations. So for one, there's no state income tax here or in Florida. But I'm trying to compare right now. Arizona, I've almost ruled out, unfortunately. I really like Arizona, but the prices are really expensive. And the other thing too is if we go to Arizona, we still have to deal with, I don't know what to call it without, flagging the video necessarily, but there's a lot more, I guess, regulations on vehicles per se. So especially since we're trying to do a lot of custom stuff, it is essentially a factor. If we were just bombing around in brand new vehicles, then we wouldn't have to do all that stuff. But I guess Arizona definitely has smog testing or whatnot in and around the Phoenix area, unless you go way out in the boonies, which I wasn't trying to do. You do have to contend with those issues. Texas actually does have those issues as well. So if you're in and around the cities, there's certain counties, and I've researched it, that once you end up outside of those counties, then you don't have to do the smog test on the vehicles. But if you're inside of that, and they stretch pretty far outside the city, but if you go outside of them, then you don't have to deal with the smog. Florida is wide open. You don't have to do smog testing in the whole state. So if we do some custom stuff, then it's a little bit easier to contend with, since that stuff always comes up every few years. Usually every couple of years you got to go for another test. So that is one consideration for us for whatever future projects that we have, that if we're in one of those areas. So that's one factor in consideration. The other thing too is, this is the research that I've done. Arizona, you still have your income tax, and you're still gonna have your property tax and sales tax and all that stuff. So that one's almost identical to Florida in that sense. So you're gonna have to deal with all those different taxes, and on top of that, the purchase price of the houses are pretty expensive. So to get a house that at least has a 3-car garage, never mind even having a shop, I didn't really find that many that had detached shops. I'm sure they exist in Arizona, but not in the price range. So they're over $700,000 to get a house with a shop in any sort of decent area in Arizona. So that one I've pretty much ruled out. In Texas so far, I've been finding, depending on how close we get to the city, been finding homes with shops anywhere from $400 to $600 and something thousand range for decent house with a shop. But the other problem I'm finding in Texas is the further you get out, the development hasn't really taken place. So you go too far out of the city, and all of a sudden we don't have a hardwired internet connection, which for YouTube is essential. So the one that I looked at, actually pretty much the last couple, 2 or 3 that I've looked at, they're so far outside of the city range that you don't have a wired internet connection. You're based off satellite, and since we're in Texas, you don't always get fair weather. So that means if there's a storm or something like that, maybe uploading videos like I'm doing right now isn't such a factor, because I can upload them, and it can take a few hours to upload if it wants to. But if I'm going to try to do a live stream, I have to check the weather report to make sure that we're going to be okay for a live stream. And that's even if I have the speeds that are good enough to support a live feed like we often do. We were doing them almost on a weekly basis. So, and I don't want to wait till I purchase a house and get moved into a house or a property to find out that we don't have a good internet connection. So it's in most senses, maybe it wouldn't make that big of a deal, but since we're doing this YouTube thing, I have to have that good internet connection. So that's the other problem or issue I'm facing with Texas. The other thing too is, I've almost changed the name. I keep joking around because every time I talk about Texas, it has to do with taxes. So I know everybody says, you don't have to pay state income tax, so, that's why you have to pay property tax. But in Florida, is not like that. The property tax in Florida is pretty average. It's not to the moon like Texas is. So for example, on a similarly priced home in Texas, and this is like outside of the city, like we're looking in the boonies essentially, some of those houses, you know, on the outskirts of town were, you know, $11,000 a year for taxes. A similarly priced house or home in Florida that I'm looking at now is like half that. It's like $6,000. So it's like half the price, plus there's no state income tax. And yeah, it's just a big factor. So that's what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with internet connection issues, trying to find like a place that will have a wired connection. So usually it comes through on like, you know, your typical cable connection that you get your cable TV on, or, you know, fiber optics that come into the house or the neighborhood or whatever. And then we could have a wired connection, so we have a stable internet connection. But a lot of these rural houses in Texas don't have that. One factor, the smog thing, you know, having to be in or out of a county that we don't have to contend with that for some future stuff, and the property taxes. So, you know, I'm not trying to make whatever kind of video, but this is just what I'm up against in my searches. So I've been diligently trying to find a place, but I just want to share my experience with you guys on this process. It's kind of random that I'm just, you know, out on the road and trying to find a place, but this is what I'm finding in my searches. So I will tell you guys, and this is why I wanted to make this video. I haven't found a whole lot here that makes sense just yet. I haven't ruled it out entirely, but it's looking a lot, you know, pretty expensive to be here. And, you know, those factors I mentioned to you. I did find a place in Florida that I'm considering going to look at. So I wanted to make this video letting you guys know and asking you guys what you guys think. I'm not sure if I'll post a picture of the property up on the screen here, but the place that I found, it's like, where can I kind of situate it? It's pretty much like an hour north of Orlando, about 50 minutes south of Gainesville, Florida. I looked it up. I guess there's a drag strip in Gainesville, which would be about 50 minutes or 50 something minutes to the drag strip. So that would be a plus for us. But this place is pretty cool. It's a newer house. The property tax, actually newer house. It's only a 2-year-old house or home. It has a huge, massive detached garage on it. I think the garage space alone is over like 1,600 square feet. Plus it still has a oversized 2-car garage on the house. So that means we could park like, you know, the Viper or maybe the SRT10 or vehicles that we're not necessarily wrenching on. Park them in the garage that goes on the house. And then we have 1,600 square feet to work as our shop. The ceiling height doesn't look all that high. So for a lift, you know, for the purposes of putting a lift in there, we might be in the same situation as we were in the last 3-car garage. But I'm thinking this at least is enough space to work with. You know, maybe we can't put a lift in to go all the way up, but at least I have enough space to store things, get a workshop set up, and then I can always, you know, at least we can work on stuff for now. And I'm thinking maybe if we do get this one, I can put a separate, you know, steel structure on it later down the road, because it's like on over 2 acres. So definitely have the space to do it. It's in a nice area. Like I said, newer house. I checked vehicle insurance over there, and my insurance would actually go down from California. So it's a cheaper insurance place. It's not in the way of like hurricanes and all that stuff, so I don't have to worry about any of that. You know, it's not in any flood areas. So I'm seeing a lot of pros on this property, but I don't know. Part of me wants to be in Texas, but there's just so many of those issues that I'm explaining to you that are like kind of taking the wind out of my sails for being over here. I don't know anybody in Florida, so that's a negative, you know, other than my sister that lives in Florida, but I don't really know any people or racers over there. As far as like Bradenton Motorsports Park, it looks like it's like 2.5 hours north of there, so I could still go. It's still a possibility. So that's where like the Freedom Factory and Cletus and all that stuff, they're over there, so I'd be a little bit closer to that. But you know, the problem is for my price range, I can't be super close to, you know, where I want to be. But I'm thinking maybe just get into some place like this, you know, it'll fit what we need to do, and we can start getting back to work, and I can start doing some projects, and I'll still have more space than we had before. So that's the big question, guys. Should I, and the other thing too, I think I've mentioned to you guys before, I ordered a new rear quarter panel for the Viper, and the goofballs shipped it all the way to California for some reason. I paid for it with my PayPal address, and they just automatically shipped it over there, even though I told them I was in Dallas. So that thing got delayed. It was supposed to be here like beginning of this week. Now it's getting shipped all the way from California back to Dallas, and it's not due to show up on Monday. And I'm, you know, you guys already know houses aren't sitting around on the market. I'm sitting here in my truck right now trying to decide if I should drive over to Florida to go look at this potential property. It's pretty much the one that I've found so far that seems the most appealing out of, you know, all the different properties I've looked at. Do I drive over to Florida just to go look at this one house, or do I stay here and wait until the fender shows up or quarter panel shows up for the Viper? That's where I'm at right now. Literally sitting here, about to go to the gym, get a workout in, see if I can clear my mind. But I want to share with you guys what I was up to today. So that's where I'm at. Stay here and keep looking for homes, or do I drive over there? I mean, I could wait over here, but the way things are moving, if it's a good property, which it is, then chances are it might be gone if I wait until next week. So I don't know. It was already sold too, and the last buyer, I don't know, they had whatever issues they had. I don't really know the full details, but that's what the agent was telling me. So it was under contract, and then it fell out, and this is my opportunity to maybe go get it. So do I jump in my truck, which I'm in right now, and drive 15 hours to go look at it with you guys, and I'll obviously show you guys, or do I stay here? Comment down below what you guys think. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I'd love to hear your feelings and opinions on that, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. See you on the next one.